So yeah, okay, welcome back. Another episode. Basically, this is all about what was it? Who's most likely to?
Yeah.
And Dan's got a list of questions from the internet,
Yeah,
and
that's
he's just going to throw them at me.
So what
And
we're going to do,
see what happens.
we're going to do it in two parts.
Yeah.
So I'll do the first part to James and who he thinks is most likely to, and then I'll give the laptop to James so he can look up the questions and he can throw them back at me. So it's like
Yeah.
a two-way thing.
Yeah. Should we do it as like one full episode, or like split it in half?
No, we'll do this one.
Oh,
full
okay,
episode.
okay.
I think it'll make it more fun.
Yeah.
Unless you
Alright.
put everyone to sleep by halfway through.
That's some giving really boring answers. Just all me.
But should we do justifications to why you think that? Because I think that'll make it a little
The
bit.
justification will be more interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, James is drinking that. We are not sponsored by that company whatsoever.
Yes, we have no affiliations with them.
It's just so happened that they do drinks, and we enjoy that they're drinks. Anyway,
As if we're big enough to be sponsored by anyone.
sponsored by John's Garage up the road. I think he'll think he's wasting his money as well, won't he?
Sponsored by Walton and Hersham Football Club. They give us £5 every week. It's great.
How much are their tickets? £6 a week.
So first one.
Anyway, who's most likely to have children?
You. I think I can say you've just bought a sodding house. I'm a single bloke, and you have a partner as well who I hope loves you.
Should we ask? Actually, not on camera. That'll be embarrassing. No, fuck off.
No, he's just got money
Where is it? I don't know.
in here.
Not a lot.
These are very expensive, okay? But no, like, you're way more set up for that. Like, I think you're way more inclined for that.
I think in the short term,
In the
yes,
short-
but I've also got a puppy, which made us realise that fuck children. Like, honestly, we think he's a lot of work, and we go to like my parents' and we go to like Jade's parents' and we're just like, what? But yeah, it's hard work, and they're like, what? No, he's so easy. We're like, what the hell? What should we expect with
Exactly,
children?
yeah.
So no, that's out of the
Exactly, yeah,
question.
absolutely.
To answer your question, who's most likely to get recognised by the Guinness World Record? Books, whatever their world
It
records.
depends what the record is. Like,
Fucking, have you seen some of their records? Just
Yeah.
absolute bullshit. Anything. Interpret it as you wish.
exactly, the world's largest indoor Ferris wheel. That's one.
When you were saying the world's largest indoor something, I thought you were going to go somewhere else.
What do you mean?
What? Nothing.
I think we'll leave that one open to interpretation. Who's more likely? It's going to be me, and it's going to be for something weird and...
Who can blow out most balloons with their fart?
Okay. Mine's probably more like who can crash the most cars. Because when I crashed the car that I drove here today like 2 or 3 times.
I think the viewers have got to get a picture of those crashes. Have you got the damage?
I mean, it's not. There's not a whole lot of damage to it, to be fair. But I'll tell you. I'll basically tell you all 3. So the first one, when I was learning to drive, when I was 17 with my dad, his driveway, there was a little hump up, and then it immediately dipped down, and it was a very short driveway, and then you've got his house, his porch, and obviously being a learner, I just floored it to get up over this steep hump, and then went straight back down, straight into it. Straight into the porch.
You referred your dad as being Martin from Friday Night Dinner.
Yeah.
In one of the episodes where one of the Jackie's, who's his wife, Martin's wife,
Yeah.
her mum comes over and she brings her boyfriend round. They literally refer to him as Hitler. Is it Morris Hitler or something like that. Anyway, he drives into their house and he steps out and is like, your house broke my car! I can literally see you stepping out of it to your dad and your dad being like, what the fuck?
Your house broke my car. But there was literally such a big dent at the bottom of the porch that, and when I brought my mates around, they were like, what's that dent for? I was like,
Is it still there?
No, he got it fixed up before he moved house.
Oh,
So we
okay.
don't live there anymore anyway. But the second one is probably the most awkward because house.
Yeah.
So his family's quite well off, so they've got quite a long driveway, and there along one side there's this brick wall along it, and so I drove down there, I parked, and then I wanted to turn around to go away, and I overestimated the turning circle of my car, and you know that big scrape along the side of my car? That's what that's from.
Right, so
And
you didn't take the brick wall down?
No.
I pictured this being a horrific, like, you're taking the brick wall down, the house is like slanted. And your mate's like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. Whilst you're there, like, I'm really sorry, I think I've got to go home.
But the thing is, I did it as I was driving away. So
Oh,
I
literally
literally,
the
I
worst.
left this big blue mark on it.
Exchanged your paint, basically.
Yeah, I exchanged paint with it, and I've never been able to live it down because none of them, they're all very good drivers. And then there's me.
Alright, and what's the third one then?
The third one, it's not particularly exciting. It was literally, you remember when we were at uni in Eastbourne?
Yeah.
It's basically impossible to park, and you got to parallel park in the tiniest space possible.
It's just
in Egdo.
city living in a very dense town, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It's very dense parking, and yeah, reversed into a car. I'll give you an additional one as well. My sister, when she was
Oh, there
driving-
comes a fourth one.
Yeah, this isn't me this time. It's my sister driving.
Right, okay.
No one listens to this anyway,
I was
so
gonna
it's
say.
fine. Like we're driving to see my family, and we're on the motorway. She's not really doesn't pay attention for a second. She rear ends someone, and there's a bit of bodywork damage, and she was like, "Don't you dare tell mum and dad." So I'm going to tell the internet instead, and then she can find out by herself.
Mum and Dad, if you don't listen to the
They
podcast,
don't listen to the podcast. This is their incentive to listen to the podcast, because I might put these little juicy details in that they'll never have heard me speak about before.
they've got to now. They've got to.
This is how we boost our viewership. Just tell them interesting things about my life to people that I've never met before. So yeah, that's the car crashes basically.
Cool.
And yeah.
Well,
I'm
so I'll
not
know not to get in the car with you ever again.
And she says I'm a worse driver when she rear-ended someone. For fuck's sake. Even
Yeah.
though I've had 2 or 3 car
But
crashes.
you're older than I, aren't you?
But yeah,
So
by
you've
2
driven more.
years.
You've driven longer.
Yeah.
So she's got time to catch up. Don't you worry. I've
Oh.
got your back, James. I've got your back.
I think rear-ending someone counts for about 2 or 3 crashes, right?
I mean, I think a crash is a crash. I don't think you can compensate having.
Yeah, but you can judge the severity.
I think it depends on the situation. Like, what happened to the car in front? Like, why did she go into them? Is this something you should be saying on the internet?
No, it wasn't like vindictive or anything. It was just careless.
Right.
That's literally it.
Well, I don't know. I don't. Luckily, I haven't been in anything serious. Touch wood, I won't be.
Did you ever have any like minor crashes?
Yes, I've been driven into.
Right. Okay.
But I can't say that I mean, I've sometimes been very silly around roundabouts for people who are not from the UK and, i.e. America, don't fucking know what roundabouts are. They're things that you have to go round, about.
Don't go over them.
What?
Like a jump.
Yeah, I think I've been quite close a few times, being driven into there or driven into someone there, because not everyone around the UK is good around roundabouts, so people just look at you like, oh, the car's coming. Fuck it, I'm just gonna go.
There's a gap there. Dunk.
Yeah, so I think the closest I've probably come to, I don't know, it's very difficult to say who's at fault in those situations. So yeah, that's probably the closest major thing I've come to. But no, nothing serious. Touch wood.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Should we do the next one?
Yes. Who's most likely to get away with murder?
I feel like I'm a decent liar,
Yeah.
so maybe. But then you'd actually be able to kill them. And I wouldn't.
See, that's what I was going to say. Would you actually be able to?
Yeah, I don't think I would. I wouldn't be able to actually kill someone.
By
but
the way, I
think
haven't killed anyone before. People take it into more likely to kill someone.
Yeah, this isn't who's more likely to kill someone, but yeah, we're also being rained on, which makes me want to kill the weatherman who told me that it was going to be good weather today.
Yes.
Okay, so who? Yeah, you're more likely to get.
In your
away with
opinion,
Exactly.
To clarify.
In my opinion, Dan is more likely to get away with murder than
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Even though I reckon I would do a better job of hiding it and covering
Yeah,
it up.
I would.
I think you'd actually be able to kill someone. I don't think I would. And that's the difference, I think.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent I probably agree with you
Yeah.
on that one. I'm not saying that I'll be able to kill someone, but I think
Yeah.
I'll be more able to hurt someone than you.
Yes. Yeah.
In a situation that someone has proven themselves to deserve to be hurt,
Yes.
not just going around hurting people.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not an assassin. I hope.
That's my night job.
Side hustle.
Yeah. Who's most likely to sneak out on a girl's trip to flirt with a total stranger? On a boy's trip? I mean, a girl's trip, whatever you identify as.
Who's on a girl's
Oh.
trip?
Who's
A
most
girl's
likely
trip.
to sneak out on a lad's trip to flirt with a stranger?
Well, no, you're a loyal boy. You're a very loyal boy, so it's probably more likely to be me, purely for the fact that I'm a single man, and it's not a big deal for me to do that.
Good answer.
Exactly, yeah. It's got nothing to do with the fact that she's right there and can probably hear this.
Standing there with an axe.
Exactly, yeah. She said one wrong thing, you got a knife in you.
Yeah. Who's most likely to get upset for most stupid reasons?
You.
Okay. Do elaborate.
You are one of the pettiest people I know.
Ooh, okay. I started an argument live on camera. Go on. Do elaborate.
Well, you are a fairly petty man.
Okay.
Like I can think of examples. I'm trying to think. I've racked my brain to think of examples. Shit. I can think of examples where I think somebody's done like annoyed you at work, and we'll talk about that, and you're like, fuck, and it's like a small deal. Although to be fair, I can also be quite petty. I think that's something we bond over. Is our love of pettiness.
Yeah, I think in my defence, I would say I'm petty. I
Yeah.
wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be in a certain situation. You could
Mm.
be a twat to me, but I know that you're joking. I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
But if you're a twat to me and you think it's funny when it's not, or it
Mm.
harms me, or something like that, do you know what I mean? It's got to
Yeah.
be in the right place at the right time for you to be able to get away with it. And I think you would agree to that, where
Yeah.
I would be like, yeah, that's fine. But if you're a twat 99% of the time, and there's no time and place for it, that's why I'm like, what the fuck?
Respect and intent
and-
is probably the biggest.
Yeah, and that's where with me I would probably say this is getting a bit deep. And,
Yeah.
But where I probably wouldn't trust people more times than I wouldn't, if that makes sense. So if they do something that makes me want to respect them less or trust them less, I would probably distance myself away from them. And that's where I'd like, do you know what? Whatever you do, I'm just going to keep my distance. And
Right.
that's where it might come across a little bit petty.
Yeah.
But that's about it, I would say. Where I
Right,
would
okay.
kind of agree to what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I would also explain why it's like that.
Exactly. At least you can justify your reasons for that. It's
Yeah.
not like it's a stupid reason.
Yeah.
Although to the outside it may seem stupid. Although to you it's got
Yeah,
a strong
but in
justification.
situations where someone pisses someone off, you're not going to sit down and talk over it, are you? You just get on with your life.
Definitely. And there will be there seems to have been a lot more occasions where you've had that than me. Where
Yeah,
You
I
don't-
seem to attract idiots. So.
exactly right. Right,
Um,
next one.
Next one. Oh.
He's skipping over a lot that are to do with relationships, I suspect.
Who's most likely to go for a trans surgery? This is escalating quickly, isn't it?
I mean, I'm more inclined to do dumb shit. In
Well-
that sense, you-
I'm more than happy
are
to.
you particularly adventurous with that?
I'm happy with mine. So, as adventurous as it would be to have two up here and something else down there, maybe, but I don't think permanently.
No. If you could do it for a day and then just change back.
Yeah,
Give
but I
it a
don't think it
go.
works that way.
No. It's pretty permanent from the looks of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll draw that one down the middle because we're both inclined to do dumb shit like that.
Who's most likely to marry a drug lord?
A drug lord.
You're into Pablo Escobar as such, aren't you? You like mustaches.
No, I have a fairly. Both of us have a fairly low tolerance for bullshit,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of bullshit with drug lords.
Yeah.
But then, money.
Is it something you're willing to sacrifice?
That's the question. I think it would be quite cool to do that. I think probably me. I think you're more about long-term security and everything. That's a real value that guides you. Whereas me, I would probably just take the money and dip.
Yeah.
And dip.
I don't know. I
It's a
think
tough one.
I think if there is a reward of I don't know how many millions,
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm in.
Yeah.
But if it's not a reward that's big enough, I'll play it safe. Which I think with drug lords is mostly more money than you think.
That's not a lifestyle that plays it particularly safe.
No, but you could have a shitload of money and then just go and hide out, can't you?
Yeah, just take the money and dip, or take as much as you're able to.
Although I do love my freedom. So
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough one.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Good question though, isn't it?
yeah.
Who's most likely to join the Secret Service? That's a good question, I reckon.
You, I think you're very interested in that. We've spoken before about Ghislaine and
Yeah.
all these different conspiracies, and I think as much as it interests me, that's a life I don't really want. Whereas you, I think you'd be interested in it and you'd be willing to go through with it more.
Yeah. Well, I don't know because you see all these movies and they're like they're not the same person they were when they went into them. You're like you think, oh, it's surely not, but you got to experience it to know it, don't you?
Yeah.
So it does interest me. You're right.
Yeah,
I just don't know because I haven't experienced it.
exactly. Yeah. Oh god. Who's more likely to cheat?
No, we're not going there. Who's most likely to get detained for harassing a policeman or policewoman, police officer?
Probably me. My social capabilities aren't always the best when I'm inebriated. You've seen this. And
I can just imagine. Oh, go on. No, do continue talking.
no, I don't have a lot else to say on that really. My social, when I'm inebriated, I am a fuckwit, and I would end up pissing that police officer off so much that they would detain me. Whereas you would at least have enough common sense to be like, okay, I'm going to step back before my life gets fucked.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? I really want to know.
I was just going to say, in some of the situations that I've seen you in, or some of the positions that I've seen you in, where you were like just out of your mind, and how you were.
Yeah,
I
let's
can
not go
see
too
you
into
doing something
detail.
really stupid.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the times where I know that I was completely drunk and I couldn't even like control what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just like couldn't stand up because I was just
Yeah, you were just on the floor.
on the floor. I still knew that I shouldn't be doing certain things.
Oh, fuck. Whereas, yeah, we're not going into detail on this, but I was just such a fuckwit.
No comment.
But I'm glad we could agree on that.
I wouldn't say you were a fuckwit. I would just say that you maybe
Really, really, really misjudged a lot of situations.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm very wary of judging people that are like that, or not like that, or in those situations where it was a one-off. You didn't really do that again.
I like to think that, I've learned from that, and I'm better.
Yeah, and you just don't know what was going around in your life at the time. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you were depressed, but I don't know. You could have misjudged something. You could have needed to blow off some steam. I don't know. There could have been so many
There's
different things.
So
that,
many factors that go into it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to judge someone on that.
Yeah.
So,
And also the fact that you've known me for years as well.
unfortunately, who's most likely to become a nun?
Or a priest. Well, no, that's dodgy.
I don't like children, so it wouldn't be
exactly.
me.
Neither of us like children. I'm not that way inclined at all.
No,
Neither
I
of
mean,
us are.
you can skip a question to make it easier.
Let's just skip this
It's
question because
bullshit.
none of us would do that. Do one more and then I'll ask you
Yeah.
some.
Oh. Who's most likely to be insecure? This
Me.
is proper deep. Do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. Like, not going to go too much into detail, but growing up, I was very, I had a lot of things I was very insecure about. Whereas, the way you talk about yourself when you were younger, you think about yourself in high esteem. Whereas when I look back on myself, I don't look back very positively on myself. There are a lot of things that I've had to correct, including that occasion that we were just talking about, with me being a fuckwit and all of that.
Yeah, I think
that's not to say that you didn't have any. I think I was more insecure.
Okay. Because I was going to say it just means that I want to present myself in a better light. That's all. Doesn't mean that I haven't had those.
True.
So I don't know. It's your opinion. We haven't lived each other's lives, so we don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, and we didn't know each other before the age of. I was 18. You were like 19, 20.
19. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big chunk of your life, and very formative part of your life that you missed out. Where there's the potential for a lot of insecurity to grow up.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I've got to ask.
Just scroll through.
Yeah.
Find whatever is interesting.
Yeah. Who's most likely to have the most children?
That's a very similar question.
It is.
I think I don't know. That's a very good question. I think for me, where you've said that I've got it right now, doesn't mean that in 5 years' time you won't have it. And I think what me and my partner are looking for at the moment is building up something for the future. So I don't think we would rush into anything. But saying that, and how we view children together, I don't think either of us, to be honest. I think it's something that we'll have to visit in about 5 years' time.
This will be interesting to come back to in a couple of years' time
Yeah.
and see how we think about it when we're a bit more established in our lives and things, and we know what's happening.
Yeah.
'Cause at the moment we're in our early 20s, we're just kind of fucking about and experimenting with it.
Early 20s, just for me, but
Just about.
yeah.
That's true. Okay, who would be most likely to accumulate the most power? So who's more likely to become powerful? That could be in wealth, politics, or influence.
If you asked me this question 2 years ago, I would have said me.
Right.
If you ask me this question now, I think I'm leaning more towards you.
What makes you say that? Why the change, first of all?
I think work has changed me quite a lot.
Okay.
I think where I used to be doing things into my own way, I would just do them and not give a shit.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I've changed now to adapt to other people, to be more accommodating. I think you have adapted yourself to be like you said, used to be insecure. Your people skill have, from what I've seen, have become so much better than they were. And I think to be powerful, one of the main things you need to have is one of them is a people skill. And I think that's where maybe I'm being a little bit insecure, I don't know, but it's where I think one of the skills that I'm probably not the best at. So that's the justification for that answer.
Right, okay. It'd be interesting to see, again, revisit that in a couple of years,
Yeah,
and see
yeah.
who is actually, but then how do you quantify power?
There is no way of doing it, is there?
Money, social influence.
Yeah, I think social influence depends what ways we go, because at the end of the day, if you're going to be a fucking Instagram influencer, then it's going to be you. But do you know what I mean? If one of us raises children that are less shits than the other children, then maybe that's... what way would you measure that?
Exactly, and to what scale it is. Is it within your house or the world?
And at the end of the day,
country?
when you talk about the world, it's what opportunities you've been lucky enough to get.
Yeah.
Where there's been probably loads of people in places where they haven't been able to get opportunities, that haven't been able to get anywhere, but they've had the skills to, or they could develop those skills. Whereas people around the Western world who are absolute dipshits have got opportunities and have gotten to places where they shouldn't have.
Yep.
Some presidents, for example.
and a lot of people within
companies
politics.
Politics kind of overshadows it all, but there's a lot of companies who have the same thing.
Oh my god, yeah.
So going off topic without going into politics too much, but yeah, you get what I mean.
Yeah, just to carry on that point for a second,
Or presidency candidates as well.
Yes.
Just politics full stop. Before we get a politics inclined conversation.
Definitely.
We're not going into an incline anywhere else, we're just commentating on it.
But to that point, there were so many opportunities I had where I could have taken advantage of that, even though I'm not competent in these these skills, I could have moved on to work in the corporate world,
Mm.
and I like in big firms, and I chose not to. And I think I'm much better for that because I've been forced to actually develop my path, develop an idea for what I want to do rather than just have it handed to me and be a complete dipshit. So yeah, there's that. Who is most likely to be successful as a on-air personality?
What's that? More like a reality TV show then, or what do you mean
I
by
look at that in the media in general, so it could be TV, YouTube, Instagram, fucking TikTok.
Both. We've got great pod running. No one watches it, so both of us.
Yeah, we're both
Just
just
equally
as
as shit.
unlikely to make it.
Yeah. If that answers the question.
Yep. Who's most likely to call in sick at work to travel for a sports event? So
You. I'll never miss work. I'm never sick.
you're a workaholic.
Yep. Love work.
That's it. There's no justification.
Just love work. Love my company. We'll do anything for it. There's no sarcasm here, by the way.
Has your boss found your social media?
I don't really use social media as such. I've just got accounts that I don't really use.
Who? It says who's most likely to win a Grammy. I think it should be most likely to produce an album.
Of music.
Yes.
I'm shit at music. You can play the guitar a little bit.
I can do a couple of chords.
Better than me. It's got to be you then, hasn't it?
Yeah, and most of it's just like ding.
That's it. Get a Grammy or an album out on that.
Ding ding ding. I'll be honest, we're running out of ideas here. We're really scratching,
Okay.
scraping the bottom of the barrel. I reckon this will be the last one. Who's most likely? Who is most likely to commit a crime of fraud? Who's most likely to commit fraud?
I'll assume it's like tax evasion.
It could be tax evasion. You could be claiming more money than you actually need.
See, I know stories from you and I know stories from me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we've tax evaded or anything like that, but I know stories relating to it. So I don't know who's worse, to be honest.
That's what you've got to judge.
You. I'll say you.
I think I would know the ways to take advantage of these things legally.
Yeah. Whereas I would just shit myself and be like, fuck it, I'll just pay whatever
Yeah.
needs to be done and won't deal with it.
Definitely. I reckon that's a good point.
I've got one more.
All right,
Just
go
thought of. Who's most likely to be an elite athlete?
You.
Okay.
You. I mean, first of all, you've already got to a higher level than me
Okay.
in the sport of swimming. However, I have this really bad thing with sports where so when we first met, our swimming was our thing, right? And then after a while, I got quite bored of swimming, and then I went to lacrosse, and then I got to a moderate level at that, and then I got bored, and now I'm doing weightlifting. Eventually, I reckon, if I don't stick with it, I'll get bored of that, and I'll move on to something else. So I move around all these different sports, whereas you are very good at sticking to one thing and doing just that one thing, and getting really, really good at that one thing. And that's what you need to be an athlete. Whereas,
I don't know. I guess I see your point in that regard, but also I've been going before COVID and all that.
yeah,
My gym life was very much of I'm very unmotivated. I won't go. I'll go once a week, twice a week,
yeah,
and I'll get to a point where I feel really shit about myself, and then I'll be like, shit, yeah, I'm gonna go. Get to about 3, 4, 5, 6 months where I've gone, religiously for 5, 6 times a week, get myself to a really good point, and then it's boring. don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
And it gets back down. It's that like wave. I want to do it, don't want to do it. And I had that with swimming. Swimming, I was only pushed to do it because of my parents. Luckily
I was
enough.
going to say, is that why you got to a good level, because your parents were pushing you?
Yeah, I think I was in an environment where my coach was pushing me, and if it wasn't at training at home, I wouldn't want to go. My parents would push me, so the environment was there to almost provide for me to go and be successful.
Yeah.
But with gym, I'll sit at home and do nothing if I can. There's no one pushing me. So I think I get what you're saying. I think we all have that, but it's that sense of
Accountability.
yeah.
That's what's really missing to push people on.
But it's motivation, isn't it, for anything?
Motivation's fleeting. I think the thing you need really is discipline to be able to get it done, and that comes from accountability from someone constantly pushing you, be that a coach, a parent, someone, a partner. Who's constantly getting you to do that, a training partner. And you had a lot more of that growing up than probably I did, because I've always been very disagreeable to certain things. Like if I really don't want to do them, then I just won't.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Be a bit of a lazy fuck, basically.
Well, everyone's got a different personality, haven't they?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But no, I think this podcast, we would be looking to do something like this on Fridays,
Yes.
rather than talk about Ghislaine Maxwell and
Yes.
the British royalty being pedos.
Even though it is quite interesting to look into that thing, that's not what we want to do long term. There'll be sprinklings of that. I think the long term is like having these kinds of discussions where we're
having more
being a bit
personal
more real.
discussions, where we can actually have a something more meaningful rather than
yes.
talking about things that we don't have any power over and that they are meaningless, like you
Yeah.
say. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and
Yeah.
tune in for the next episode.
Yeah. See you again next time.